Hey, I'm Hannah Weiss, the Director of Education at the Science Museum of Western Virginia, and this is your Moment of STEM. And this week, we're going to talk about the robot on the moon. See, just about a week ago, the Chinese Space Agency landed a probe and rover on the so-called dark or far side of the moon, which is really, really awesome. But at first glance, you might not think so, right? We have landed so many things on the moon over the years. So why does this new landing matter? Why is it significant? Well, because they landed on the dark or far side, which is the first time that's been done. And that's the first time it's been done because it's really difficult. See, when we're talking about the far side of the moon, we're talking about the side of the moon that, well, doesn't ever face the Earth. The moon is something that we call tidally locked, which is a really fancy way of saying that it takes it as much time to spin around its axis as it does to go around the planet. Okay, so think about it this way. For a celestial body spinning around its axis, like the moon, that's what we call like a day. So on Earth, for the Earth to spin around its axis, that takes a day, about 24 hours. For the moon, that same process takes pretty close to 28 days. Now, as the moon is completing its day, it's also going around the Earth. And it takes the moon about the same amount of time, about 28 days, to go around the Earth. These two things together mean that we only see one side, one face of the moon. And if you'd like a more visual explanation of this process, you can check out our links. We have some really, really awesome, very visual explanations of the moon being tidally locked. But for us, for this probe and lander, the moon being tidally locked makes it really, really difficult to land on that side because anytime any communication needs to happen, well, there's an entire moon between your rover or probe and the Earth. The way that the Chinese Space Agency has gotten around this problem has been to send up another satellite. So they've sent up a satellite that can kind of take the information from their probe or rover to the satellite and then bounce it back, meaning that they're able to get all of that data that they're collecting. And that data has been really, really cool. We've gotten some really neat images of the far side or dark side of the moon. The Chinese team also plans on exploring one of the deepest impact craters on the moon, and actually one of the deepest impact craters that may be in the solar system. This crater is so deep that from the bottom to the top, it's about 8 miles, which is almost 2 times the height of Everest. And it might tell us a lot of really cool stuff about the moon and how it formed. Now, the Chinese team also sent with their probe and rover a microbiome that has some plants and maybe even some fruit flies, which scientists could use to explore the effects of space on these organisms. It is really, really cool that we have this new probe, this new rover on the far side of the moon, and I can't wait to see what we discover. And if you'd like to discover any more about the science that we've talked about today, you can check out the links below. Otherwise, I'm Hannah Weiss from the Science Museum of Western Virginia. And did you know that even though they call it the dark side of the moon, it still has about 14 days of sunlight?